Alison. I'm the Programs, Outreach, and Youth Services Manager here at Monterey County Free Libraries. Thank you for joining me today for another episode of Backyard Science. Today we are going to talk about mushrooms. Now I want to start this video with a disclaimer. There are mushrooms that are poisonous. So if you are looking at mushrooms in the wild, you want to make sure that you are being very careful and never under any circumstances should you taste a mushroom that hasn't come from the grocery store. If you find a mushroom out in the yard or on a walk, never ever taste it because it could be poisonous. That is not to say that you should be scared of mushrooms, but you just need to be very careful with them. Now, I got the inspiration to do this video because I found a giant mushroom growing in my backyard along our back fence. We often see a lot of mushrooms in our backyard, and they take all different shapes and sizes, but this one's really cool, and I'm going to show it to you in a little bit. But I thought that we would start with talking about some mushroom facts, like we often do. So I did a little bit of research, and I'll share with you later the books that I checked out to do the research, and I discovered that mushrooms are a fungus. So fungi themselves are actually not plants. They are part of a separate group that includes mushrooms, molds, and yeasts. And fungi can't make their own food like plants, so they actually feed on live or decaying plant material around them, which was pretty cool. There are between 2.2 and 3.8 million species of fungi, so that is a lot. And the mushroom is actually the fruit of the fungus, and a lot of it grows underneath the ground. So I brought a mushroom today from the grocery store, so this one we can eat, to talk about the different parts of a mushroom. The top here is called the cap, and this is the shape that helps tell different mushrooms apart. Underneath the cap we have the gills, and it's a little bit hard to see on this one, so I cut it apart. The gills are right here. Sometimes it's a little easier to see on some mushrooms. This mushroom still has its protective casing right here to protect the gills. And the gills are what send out spores, which are the seeds that help to make the new plants. So I'll break this apart a little bit more. There's a much better shot of the gills. And this, like I said, is just a mushroom that I got in the store. So perfectly okay to eat. I love mushrooms from the grocery store. With that in mind, I thought we would take a look at the mushroom that I found in my backyard. Now, for this video, I thought I would get a little daring and try to identify what the mushroom was. So I checked out this really big book called California Mushrooms, The Comprehensive Identification Guide. And this is in our adult nonfiction section, and it really is comprehensive, which means it has a lot of information. There's so many different kinds of mushrooms in here. I narrowed it down to a section that had some pictures that looked like the mushroom I saw in my backyard. So it doesn't have this coloring, but it does come out of a tree. One's out of a tree, one's out of a fence. And they look kind of like, almost like pancakes. Like flat little pancake things growing out of the tree. So I don't think that I'm going to be able to fully identify which mushroom it is, but I thought that it would be really fun to check out a big book. And I encourage you, if you're trying to figure out what something is in your backyard, to check out a big book like this from the library so that you can study up and see if you can identify different things you find in your yard. Let's go take a look at the mushroom I found. So here is the mushroom that I found. This one is growing against the fence line. Very interesting. Look, that oxalis is growing right out of the mushroom. That's pretty cool. So as you can see, it's got the ruffly pattern that I identified in that picture in the book. It's got some of the same coloring patterns, but it's not as bright as the one that I was looking at. It does have the ruffles and the different layers. If you know what mushroom this is, let me know in the comments below. There's also one a little further up here. You can see it right there. That one's a little bit more golden, like in the book. So when I found those, I was definitely inspired to do more mushroom research. It's funny the different shapes and sizes that mushrooms can take. Along with my big comprehensive mushroom guide, I also used a few other books to do research for this video. One of the main ones that I used was this book called Mushrooms by Millicent E. Selzoom. And this was a really great, very informative book about how mushrooms grow. I also loved this book called Fungus is Among Us, and this is by Joy Keller. This is a really, really cute picture book all about mushrooms, molds, and yeast. Has tons of information along with a very cute rhyming story about mushrooms and mold. I love the illustrations, so cute. And the last book that I used is this beautiful book called Fungarium, and this is curated by Katie Scott and Esther Gaia. And it is just a very beautiful big book all about different kinds of mushrooms. Tons of information, beautiful large pictures for you to look at. So I hope that you check out some of those books and do your own research about mushrooms. As I said, if you have any idea what mushroom is in my backyard, please let me know your best guess in the comments below. Thank you so much for joining me today, everybody. I hope that you have a great time discovering new things in your backyard, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.